Hello, everyone. You're listening to another episode of The Fight Game with Timothy McKain. And today I have the very pleasure of interviewing Charisa Sigala. How you doing today, miss?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you're a 4-2 mixed martial artist, recently signed a contract to bare knuckle. Um, when did your love for the fight game begin?
I've loved fighting since I was young. So I used to watch UFC when I was younger, when Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz and Rampage were on there. So I've always loved fighting and wanted to get in there. So pretty young. I think I was like 18 when I started watching it. 19.
18, 19. I got you. And when was the first time you actually went into the gym? And when was the first time you actually sparred?
So I started jujitsu first, and then I really have always wanted to actually get into fighting. So got into the gym probably when I was about 20, I want to say 26, 27. So I think it was late 2000s. And I went and was looking around in my area, and the best school around here was Millennia. So I jumped in there, met my coach, Batiste Mansori. And right away, it was like it clicked. I got in there. He put me in the classes, and I think we sparred probably like maybe after the second or third week. But it was like controlled sparring, so it wasn't like crazy pro practices. It was the amateur sparring.
Yes, ma'am.
It
Yes,
was pretty
ma'am.
fun. I've always loved it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So in society, it's almost like they force the youth really to figure out what they want to do quickly, and sometimes it's almost like if you haven't figured it out yet, or especially in the fight game, they might say a 27 and 28 might be too old, but you didn't let that mentality stop you from chasing your dreams. What led you to continue to chase your dreams despite what society might have said about it?
So I was actually a teen mom. I had my daughter when I was 17, which is what held me back from a lot of things. And I told myself that I want to be a role model to my kids, especially someone like her, and show her that no matter what, you go after your dreams. I mean, I started the fight game late, but I'm also in college getting my BA and eventually going to master's. I'm showing her that you can do everything that you want to do. Age is nothing. And also, I mean, because there's also the whole female and male thing too. Like it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, just go out there and do what you want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you actually were the first black belt in Gracie Baja where you train. What was that experience like being the first but not the last?
So I was the first female black belt there. It's amazing because I knew many girls that started with me. And jiu-jitsu is one of those things where you see a lot of people stop doing it at blue belt. And for me, it was never a question of quitting because I got that fight mentality in me. I'm very competitive and I want to always keep going. So, for me, it's just another one of those role model things. I like showing others that there's nothing that you can't overcome. You can go ahead and continue with whatever you want to do. It's about what you put into it. That's where you get where you go. And I hope that I'm still inspiring others to continue that role because there's a lot of females at that school that continue to go. And it was actually a pretty cool thing because when I got my black belt, there was a girl there that wasn't from my school, but knew somebody that was there. And she came up to me. She's like, "This was really awesome seeing you get your black belt. It's inspired me to continue to go," because she was a white belt or blue belt somewhere else. So it's amazing hearing stories like that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So how did your daughter change you as a person, as a mother, as a woman, and also has she supported you in your journey in mixed martial arts and now as a bare knuckle fighter?
Well, she's 19 now, so she's going to be there
Wow.
with me. But my daughter really like having my kids. Like I said, for me, it's always been a push to be a role model. But they also actually push me to continue because you have those bad days. You're like, what am I doing? Like I just got beat up today. I'm tired. I'm sore. But then you look at them and you're like, no, of course I'm doing things for myself as well, but they're that extra push that keep me going. So they continued, to show me that even seeing them do the things that they do, I'm like, wow, like that's pretty cool. I made that. So seeing things like that, like it's pretty cool. They offer me that extra push to keep going, keep fighting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, one of the things that I did a little research on you, and you talked about the walkout. You know, when you're walking into the gym, you have the crowd going crazy. What is that experience? Just mentally, how do you take that in with the fans cheering and all the work that you put in, and now you're about to face your opponent? What's that experience like for you? What's that feeling like?
So for me, like for all my fights, I'm actually really good at zoning almost everything out, but the crowd just gets you pumped and gets that adrenaline going even more. So like that part with the walking out, it's just that head mentality that you're in there, like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, you know, never a question of like turning back. And it's just that like, okay, we're here, let's go. We both signed this contract, let's do it. And then of course you're here to show fans and to get the fans entertained as well. But in my head, I'm just like, I'm going out there to show what I've learned, from my coaches that have taught me. So pretty exciting.
Absolutely. So I was talking with the boxer the other day. His name is Daniel Edward. He's the Haitian sensation. And I asked him, what's more important in a fighter? The mentality, the skill, or the heart? He said the heart was the most important because the heart, if you get hit and you question yourself, but that heart, it pushes you through. So like, what do you think is the most important trait in a fighter? Skill, the mentality of the fighter, or the heart?
I honestly agree because I feel like I think heart and mentality almost go one on one. I feel like you have to have that strong mentality, but that heart is what gets you to not give up. Because there's some people that go out there and they get hit and they're just like, I'm done. Like, and you could see it. You could see it on their faces as they're fighting. You're like, man, they want to get out of that fight. They're gonna lose. And then there's those others that just keep pushing. I've never been one that cared about. I mean, obviously we care about getting hit, but I'm like, that's not my focus. My focus is just getting in there and getting it done and, rolling with the punches. And if you get hit, what are you going to do? How are you going to bounce back? Sort of thing. So I think the heart is the biggest thing that a fighter needs.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I've seen some of your fights, and let's say and you got good hands, first off. And so
Thank you.
when you notice that you've hit your opponent with a really good shot and you see their eyes, you can tell that they want to get out of there. Are you somebody who wants to attack right away when you see that, or do you like hold back and just slowly take them apart?
So it's a little bit of both because you don't want to go in right away unless you really hurt the person because you're still going against someone that's really skilled. And so if you have that skilled fighter that knows how to jump back in, because you can see it in their eyes, but it doesn't mean they're going to give up. So you gotta have that fighting smartness, I guess you could say, that sort of mentality to understand where you need to go. So it's a little bit of both. It depends on their reaction. So if you just see it in their eyes, that doesn't mean that their hands are going to drop down. But if you see their body start dropping and their hands start getting lower, then you're going to attack. You know that you got them somewhere where they're hurt and they're not going to come back.
Exactly. So you've been in the lights for a long time, for about 7, 8 years. Who are some of the supporters? Who are some of your biggest supporters behind the scenes that might not get the credit when it comes to helping you support you in your dreams?
The biggest is the family, because honestly, I mean, I do a lot. Like I said, I'm in college, I work, I train. So I think sometimes I give up a little bit of that family time. So they have been there and supported me the most out of everybody. My kids, my husband, my parents. Obviously, my dad is a big supporter. He's gone to almost every single one of my fights. I have aunts and uncles my family's all over the place. I have some in Wisconsin. I have some that live over here in Texas, Arizona. So they're all over the place. And they're always like messaging me or like posting things. So it's pretty cool. And then of course my coaches and my team members, because all those teammates that you have, yeah, they're not in there fighting with you, but they help you and they build that skill set. Because if you're not on the right team, your skills aren't going to be there. And if you don't have the right person in front of you sparring you, you're not going to get any better. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you learn more from your wins or your losses?
I feel like it's a mixture of both. Because in your losses, you learn, and it's going to depend on how you lose too. But in your losses, you learn like the little mistakes that you made. And even when you win, you realize like, oh, I messed up here. Like I'm really hard on myself, and I know a lot of people, other people who are too. So even those wins, you're like, man, I didn't take that girl down the right way. You know, she fell, or like, oh, that punch should have been higher. Or there's always things that you learn here and there. And then honestly, I think every fight you learn a little bit more about how much mentality you have towards the game, and always that extra skill set. And sometimes you learn some stuff from your opponents, because you'll see something and be like, oh, that girl kept getting me with that really good low kick. I got to learn to check that low kick, even if you win. So you get a lot from both.
Yes, ma'am. So, what is success? What does success look like for Charisa Sigala, both inside the ring and outside?
For me, it's about going forward. It's not really. Obviously, you want to look back on where you were, but it's not dwelling in the past. It's just continuing to keep pushing and going. So, for me, like at the end of the day, I feel like in everything I've done, even if it was like today I wanted to walk away, which I never would, I feel like I've made a lot of successes because I've done a lot of things that a lot of people, don't couldn't say that they did. I've gone out there. An older female that's fighting. I'm getting in the ring. I'm still going out. I'm getting into bare knuckles this next one. And a lot of people are like, man, I wouldn't do that. Even some of the fighters that I fight with, they're like, I wouldn't do that. But I'm like, to me, it's just another day. So I feel like even outside the ring, it's just showing my kids like, hey, like, seeing what they're doing and the people that they're becoming. And even like in career wise, just the things that I'm learning and how I keep growing within my career. So it's always moving up or going forward, and teaching others is like a big part of success for me.
Absolutely. So, you have a fight coming up February 5th.
Yep.
You're fighting Taylor Jenkins.
Mhm.
That's going to be a
That's
dog
one
fight.
of
That's
her
going to be
names. I think her last name is Starling.
Starling.
I
Oh,
think
yes.
Jenkins is
Yes.
another one she goes by. She has like 3 different names.
Yes. Yes. Taylor. Yes. Taylor Starling. My correction. Taylor Starling.
Dude, oh,
Killer
so good.
bee. Killer bee. And she's somebody who not only talks about how she likes getting bloody, but she walks the walk. She's a dog fight. So how do you visualize this fight going out for you? How do you see yourself winning this fight?
I feel like I'm a brawler too, but I feel like I've got more precision. I've got better coaches. I feel like my training is a lot better, and I punch for a reason, not just to throw. So I'm like, I feel like it's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be a going forward fight. You're going to see it going back and forth, but I mean, at the end of the day, I know I'm going to win. So,
I love it.
so I think it's going to be fun though.
It will be. It will.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Where can people find you on social media and everything?
So on Instagram, it's Charisa_sweetheart. On Twitter, it's going to be BKFC Sweetheart. And then I have an MMA page on Facebook, just Charisa Sigala MMA, as well as a personal one, Charisa Nicole. Nicole is my middle name.
Thank you very much for your time. You have an incredible day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.